Recently, I decided to give Grayzone a chance. This is a game that I've had a lot of people tell me that I would be interested in, and I've been sort of waiting to see if they were going to do anything interesting, and I've heard some mixed opinions, so I wasn't too sure if it was something that I wanted to play. But recently, as most of you have probably heard by now, there's a pretty large update that came with the game, and I figured if there was ever a time for me to jump in, it would be now. For people who have never played this before, let me explain what this game is. You essentially have a headquarters, and you are going to start there and you're going to get a kit together. There are 3 factions that each have a headquarters on the same map. Each of these factions have missions to accomplish and things to do, and you guys are all sharing this map together. You'll start in your HQ, you'll grab your kit, and you'll hop on a helicopter, and you'll go to wherever it is that you have things that you want to accomplish. You show up over there, do your missions, gather loot, whatever. Once you're done, you call in a chopper, go to the LZ, it picks you up, brings you back to HQ, and you do this over and over and over again. It's a rather interesting gameplay loop. It's something that I haven't really seen before, and that alone is something that I appreciate. It can be really fun, and adding in the element of potentially running into enemy factions in the middle of it makes it that much more intense, and the gameplay loop here, I believe, is actually pretty solid. The map in this game and the graphics in this game in general are really, really good. The map is absolutely gorgeous. There's dense foliage, there's a lot of trees and open fields and marshes and just a lot of really cool little places that you can find. There's little hidden areas with like plane crashes and huts and tents and camps and all kinds of cool stuff that you can stumble across. And all the POIs are pretty unique, and a lot of the interiors of the buildings are rather detailed, and there's a lot going on, and it feels like it's actually a place that's been lived in, which is really, really good because so much of your time in this game is spent quite literally wandering around, doing quests, and just kind of walking from point to point. I think that's one of the strongest parts of the game, and just for the sake of spawning in and just kind of wandering, it is really nice to do. And especially when you get to the day and night cycles that the game has, going around the jungle at night can be really, really interesting, and it's really cool to have like night vision on and be creeping through the jungle and then turn around and see the sun coming up. And there's also dynamic weather, which is really cool. You'll have days where it's raining or it's just cloudy or super sunny outside, and all of that together like really makes the map feel dynamic and alive and interesting. I would argue that that side of the game is one of, if not the best part of the game at the moment, and it's something that I really wanted to mention because I think it's so good. The gunplay is good. I enjoy it. It reminds me of Arena Breakout or Tarkov or something in that realm. It's very mil-simmy. There's a lot of hardcore elements to it, and it's not as simple as point and click. I appreciate that, and in a game like this, it makes it feel much more intense when you're in a gunfight, and it makes it to where things aren't so simple as just running around and shooting everything you see. You have to actually sort of gain control of your weapon and know what you're doing. There's some cool elements here. You have arm stamina. You have the need to hold your breath when you're ADSing. You can even canted aim your gun so that you can fire a little bit more accurately than hip fire but not have to aim down your sight. This makes laser sights actually have a purpose. And in general, the gunplay does feel pretty good, and the sounds of the guns going off is incredibly well done. They crack super, super loud, and they echo throughout the entire area. This is done really well, and it makes gunfights sound intimidating. This is really cool, and I would say that this game does the sound of gunshots better than almost any other game I've played. Arc Raiders does a really good job as well, but this game has a realism level that I think even might beat that game at some points. I've shot a lot of guns in real life, so I know what a rifle sounds like, and this game does a really good job of sort of emulating that sound, and it makes it really fun to be fighting and, you know, have people shooting and not really even be able to tell where it's coming from because it's so loud. When it comes to shooting AI and other players, but AI in particular, the AI in this game is really weird because on one hand, there's a lot of one-tap potential. If you hit somebody in the head, bot or PMC, they're gonna fall over dead. It's just how it works. But also, at the same time, there are moments where the bots feel like they are just eating shots and are bullet sponges. I'm not gonna lie. I've felt it many times, and I know with this update they mentioned that they were doing something along the lines of making the bots react more appropriately to getting shot. I've noticed that in action, but simultaneously I've noticed where I put 7 or 8 shots into a bot and he doesn't even react and he doesn't die. It can be a bit confusing at times. I think this is something they can fix, and I know that this game is in a pre-alpha state, so any criticisms that I give during this video, just understand I am well aware of the fact that this game is not finished and does not deserve the level of criticism that something that is quote-unquote done should be getting. Obviously, there's an armor system in the game, there's a helmet system, and if they have really good armor on, they're going to eat shots. It's how that works. But, I mean, we're talking about bots in the initial areas with not the best armor on, and I'm shooting decent ammo, and they're just kind of eating it. On the flip side of this, there are times where you'll shoot a bot 2, 3, 4 times. He'll run around a corner, and he'll literally bleed out, and you don't have to shoot him again. It's not always the bullet sponge side of the coin, but it's also not always like this super hyper realistic reaction system. It's kind of somewhere in the middle, and I think that it's a pain point for the game and something that bothered me a little bit. With that though, receiving gunshots and getting shot in this game sucks a lot for you. It is not fun. You do not want to be shot. Your character will be in pain, he will be messed up, and he will bleed out, and it's not a good time. I will go into the injury system of the game a little bit later in the video, but just understand that it is not a game where you're going to run around like Rambo and just shoot everybody. It's not happening. You will die. And you will die sometimes to bots that you didn't see and didn't know were there, and they shot you in the head one good time and you fall over dead. As a matter of fact, early on in the game, I'm walking down the road, one of the first missions that I've ever done, and within half a second, I'm shot in the head and I'm dead and laying on the ground, and now I gotta go find my body again. It does happen. It's happened to all my friends. It is a part of the game, and you are not going to walk around carelessly and get away with it for very long. One more thing that I want to bring up on the topic of gameplay before I move on to some other stuff that I want to talk about. The movement system in this game is okay. It's kind of slow, which you expect from a mil-semi-tac shooter, and that doesn't really bother me too much. But I did notice that the mantling is a little bit weird, and there are times where there's things that I should be able to mantle that just seems like he doesn't want to do it, like small fences and stuff like that. It can be a little bit annoying, especially if you're in the middle of a fight and you're trying to like get to cover or something and your mantling doesn't want to work. That can be a problem. I also noticed that drops from like relatively small heights will make your character like literally almost sink into the earth. I don't understand why. It's like he's carrying the weight of a school bus on top of him or something. That's a little bit annoying, but it's kind of one of those things that doesn't happen too often, and when it does, you just kind of brush it off. But I did want to mention the movement here because I have seen some stuff online about it, and for me it wasn't too much of a problem. Everything outside of that was fine. You have a tac sprint. It's very limited. You're not going to be tac sprinting around the map, but in the middle of a fight you can like quickly get to cover if you need to. I feel like that's enough, and outside of that I don't feel like I really need much more. But that is something I just wanted to bring up real quick because I think it is relatively important. So with that out the way, I'm gonna take a minute and talk about the healing and the injury system in the game, because there's a lot of interesting stuff here, and I think it's a big part of the gameplay, and it makes the game pretty unique, honestly. In this game, they have essentially mapped out the organs in your body. Your lungs, your heart, your brain, your intestines, your bones, all of this stuff. And depending upon where an enemy hits you, it will injure the part that it hits. If you get shot in the lungs, you start coughing, you start having shortness of breath, you start having issues. If you get shot in the intestines, you'll start vomiting, you'll have stomach pain, you'll have problems. You get shot in an arm or a leg, you'll be bleeding, you'll have a broken arm, you'll have a broken leg, you have problems. You get shot in the heart or the brain, if it destroys the heart or the brain, you're dead. That's it. You're going to fall over and you're going to have to come back and come get your stuff if you can. This injury system is really cool. There's a lot of status effects associated with it. If you get shot a couple times, you might literally have your screen fill up with issues. You will be vomiting, you will be dizzy, you will be in pain, you will be unable to hold your gun straight, you'll be unable to sprint. There's all kinds of things that happen, and it really sucks to get shot. And if you neglect to like clear a corner or check a direction or look both ways before you cross the street and you get shot up, it's a bad time. And with the healing in this game, there's a lot of different healing items and they all do different things. You got splints, tourniquets, bandages, blood bags, suture kits, surgery kits, all this stuff. And you need to figure out what does what and when to use what. And you will have essentially a body that you can look at in your menu that shows you what type of damage you've taken in and what type of injury you have. And you have to actually figure out what heal you need to stop the bleeding, fix the broken arm, and it takes a while to get through that. So when you get shot, you are out of the fight for a hot minute. On one hand, this can be annoying because if you're trying to solo clear a village or something and the bots keep hitting you, you'll quickly run out of heals. It also means that you're kind of helpless for a good 45 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, trying to heal up all these wounds that you got. On the flip side though, it makes gunfights feel like you really do got to pay attention to what you're doing because there is consequences to messing up. In the same category, if you get shot and you bleed out, you bleed very quickly in this game. You go into a coma, you will lay on the ground, and if you have squad mates or teammates, they can heal you, but they have to actually have the heals that you need to stop your bleeding, give you blood, and get you back up so that you can finish healing yourself. It's not like other games where they can just walk up and revive you. This is kind of brutal because there are times where me and or my squad mate didn't have a bag of blood to give our teammate, and he gets shot and drops down on the ground and we can't help him. There's also times where you run out of heals and your teammate doesn't really have any, or he's trying to heal you and then he gets shot and now he's out of heals and now you're both screwed. So getting messed up in this game is a genuine issue and you have to be careful. And if your teammate gets shot up, it becomes a everybody problem, not just a him problem. There's more stuff going on with the injury system. There's a little bit more in depth that I could go with it, but I'm just giving the baseline here. This system is awesome, and I think this is one of the cooler parts of the game. I really am surprised that I haven't seen this up until this point. Maybe some other game has this going on, but this is the first time I've really seen it. Now, if for whatever reason you can't heal yourself, and your teammates can't heal you and you die and you have to respawn, there's a whole new problem. There's no death marker on the map. So when you die, you better hope that you knew where you were. And if you were by yourself, which has happened to me before, and you fell over dead and you don't know where you were on the map because you weren't paying attention, which has happened to me before, good luck finding your body. It's anywhere on this gigantic map. It could be literally anywhere, and you will go on a mission to go figure it out. And even if you knew the general area, you still don't have a marker, so you're going to have to kind of remember what building were you at, or what road were you on, or whatever. This is something that I think that maybe they could just give us at least a general idea of where you died. Maybe a marker on your compass or something. I understand they're trying to keep the HUD as minimal as possible to keep the immersion up. And I honestly do appreciate that because it's quite nice to have a game where there's almost no HUD, but it does kind of suck and it can be pretty annoying. Even more brutal than that is if you die and you can't find your body and you look around for too long and eventually find it, if you don't find it within that time limit, you can't loot your stuff off of it. The body's too old. It'll literally tell you the body's too old and you've lost all your gear. I don't love this. I kind of feel like I don't understand why my gun can't be looted off of my body because I've been dead for too long, but I don't know. This is kind of a weird thing, and it's something that I do find to be quite a bit annoying. Moving on from that, let's talk about progression. The vast majority of what you're doing for both main quests and honestly the side quests too is a scavenger hunt with guns. You will walk into an area, it'll tell you to find X, Y, and Z, and you will look around that area for X, Y, and Z for as long as it takes. Because there's very little HUD in the game, you don't really get much of an idea of what you're looking for or where. So it'll tell you look for intel on blah blah blah, and you will spend forever looking for intel on blah blah blah. You don't know if it's a document, you don't know if it's a picture, you don't know if it's a note. This entire thing kind of gets annoying. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably the weakest point of the game for me. I was really hoping as I progressed that I would start to see more variety here, but when I tell you it's a scavenger hunt with guns, that is what you're doing a lot of the time. And even worse than that is that a lot of times you'll go into POIs and it will be a scavenger hunt, but with keys involved. So there will be a door you got to get behind to get the right thing that you need, and you don't know where the key is. And you either have to make a choice to Google it, which can break the immersion, obviously, or you're going to wander around aimlessly and search every body and every table and every desk and everything until eventually you stumble upon the key you need, and it can get really, really tedious and annoying. And this is even worse if you're playing by yourself because you are the only person looking. If you have a full squad, it makes it a little bit better because at least there's 4 of you guys trying to figure this out and you can help each other. But by yourself, it is annoying to say the least. There are certain side quests and missions where it wants you to clear out an area, take out a convoy of enemies, stuff like that. That's a little bit more fun, and it does sort of break up the monotony, but honestly, not by much. And this is something that at this point in the game, probably 30 hours in or so, I am pretty sick of looking around for all these little documents and stuff, and I wish there was something different. Now, I will say that I do understand that because there's PvP involved, that you can't really do super heavy involved missions because there's always a chance that you stumble upon another team, and you don't want it to get to a situation where the more experienced players are going to come camp the more involved missions because they know that those missions are going to distract people, and then they just wait for you to show up and kill you and then take all your stuff, and it gets really annoying. It could break the game. I'm not entirely sure what they could do differently. I would actually like to hear some suggestions from you guys, but I was really hoping it would get better, but at this point, I don't think it does. But everything that you do in the game, all of these quests and contracts and everything, go towards leveling up your vendors. You have all these little shops that you go to, and as you complete quests, you're going to level up each vendor individually based on what quest you were doing and who the quest was for. That'll unlock new gear and items and stuff for you to bring in a raid. That entire system's fine for me. I do kind of think that maybe allowing you to get a little bit of XP from buying stuff from certain vendors would be nice, and it would help me not feel like I have to do every single quest all the time. That would be kind of cool. I don't know why that's not implemented, but then again, the game is in pre-alpha, so maybe they'll do that in the future. But as of right now, from what I've seen, the only way to level up these vendors is quite literally to go in and just do as many quests as you possibly can for the vendor that you're trying to level up. We have PvP. I've saved this for last because I have some stuff to say about it. The first thing is that PvP is mostly just for the gear and the money associated with it. It doesn't help your vendors level up or anything like that, so you're kind of just doing it for the love of the game, I guess. When it comes to the PvP though, it is intense and chaotic. The gunshots are loud, you don't know where they're coming from, players die instantly, so your teammate can just fall over dead and not even know where he got shot from. There's no kill cams, so you can't see where the guy was. And in general, the PvP is super, super intense. And when you win, it feels really good because you won and you get to go grab all their loot and bring it back to your home base and put it in your stash or sell it or whatever. And I've gotten some really cool guns off of people that I killed, and it feels fantastic. On the other side of that, if you get shot by a guy sitting in a dark corner inside of a building that you didn't know was there and you lose all your gear instantly, it feels pretty terrible. It's not fun. That's the nature of a game like this, and honestly, my opinion on the PvP in terms of the fun factor is pretty good. I actually really enjoy it. The way that you sort of initiate PvP in this game is you either stumble upon an enemy team that's going to the same POI as you. This is more a matter of luck. Doesn't happen too often from what I've seen, but as the server progresses and people start working their way through the map, I imagine it's going to become more common. Or you fight for these forward bases on the map, little tiny bases throughout the map that you can access your headquarters from, go to your vendors, buy and sell stuff without having to go all the way back to your main base. These are places that everybody can fight for. A lot of times you'll see these get attacked and you can go defend it, or you can attack some yourself and try to take them over. I enjoy attacking these. I actually had a night where I spent a good few hours just simply fighting over bases. Doing this at nighttime is incredibly cool, especially if you have night vision. It can be super fun. I've had some crazy fights trying to get these bases taken over. I've had moments where my team just keeps getting mowed down and we keep coming back and fighting back and forth till eventually we have to give up. I've also had moments where we are the ones that are holding the base down and making it impossible for somebody else to push it. I've also successfully taken bases over, and this feels very rewarding. Now I have a forward spawn point, I can access my vendors and everything, and a lot of times it's beneficial to kind of sit around there for a minute and see if somebody else tries to come back and get their stuff back. I've had people sitting at objectives that I needed to get to, and I have to fight them in order to do my task. I've had moments where I had a team run up on me while I was on a helicopter and trying to exfil, and I ended up killing both of them, which was absolutely insane. I've also had plenty of moments where I just fall over dead, and I don't know why or where, and I just lose my gear, and I run back trying to get it, and then I die again. So in general, I think the Grayzone is a really good game. I enjoyed my time tremendously. I had a lot of fun. I actually found myself to be pretty addicted to it for about 4 or 5 days in a row. Didn't play anything else. I streamed it a lot and I really enjoyed my time. The game is good, and I think that if this is something that has kind of piqued your interest, you definitely should give it a try. There's a lot of fun to be had here for sure. So, with all that being said, drop some comments down below. I wouldn't mind some tips and tricks, stuff that you guys have learned playing the game that I don't know about. What do you guys think about the game? Do you guys have the same problems I have? Is there other stuff that I didn't talk about in this video? Feel free, put it all down there for me. I'm going to be interested in reading all of that and kind of seeing what people think. I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I do genuinely appreciate it, and I'll be making more Grayzone videos in the future. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch y'all later. Peace, guys.